is day number 13, Johnny Candito's training program, linear progression. So here we go. So one of the things that I'm finding with this program is that I really like it. I like being able to follow just a few exercises and be consistent with the reps and sets. That way nothing changes. I already know in my head how much I can tolerate for 6 reps, and all I'm doing is I'm increasing the weight week after week. I think this is one of the biggest values when it comes to training, is when you're able to be consistent with the way that you're training. You're able to make adjustments and variables each and every training cycle. I think if we try too many things at one time, mess around week to week, you never get any sort of consistent gains, and you never give yourself enough time to develop the proper strength base for certain movements. Because everything that I'm looking for is trying to be consistent. And I feel like one of the hardest things I do have trouble with is my squat. Here's 315 pounds and the music change. Trying to work myself up to a 345 pound squat for a double. But I just did not have it in me today, or for that day, to train, to do 2 sets of, or a set of 2. So I ended up doing a set of 1. I am happy that I was able to get to 3 sets of 295. I was feeling pretty strong for this. I always find that if I work myself up to a heavy weight and back down for my 3 sets of 6, I do much better. Of course, I'm not doing any max effort work, but I'm pushing myself to a point where it essentially heightens up my nervous system, but I'm not pushing so much that there's a chance that I might fail. So everything that I'm doing in my program, I'm following this program here, is really just trying to get the most out of myself and get a sense for kind of what's weak and what's strong and where I need the most work. 295 pounds isn't a lot of weight, but it is a weight where I know that I can do error-free now. Something that I did not feel confident about before, because I would used to have to use knee wraps, I would used to have to use a belt, and this time I'm not wearing a belt and not wearing knee wraps. So in essence, every single week is a PR. It's a PR because I don't do any high rep work, or I didn't used to until I did this program. Which is another reason why I chose to do it, is because 6 repetitions is more than 5, so it feels like it's high reps. And the idea of doing any program, again, is just to check and see where you are weak, where you're lacking, and make improvements. I mean, I think the other part too is the psychological part, is that sometimes progress is slow, sometimes progress is fast. And it's a real pain in the ass when you just can't get to where you want to be right away, but it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. I read this really great article, an Elite FTS I saw on my Twitter feed, and I was just talking about how weightlifting is a marathon, and that's kind of what you need to look at it as. You want to get stronger, you're in this for the long haul, you're trying to get better, trying to get stronger, and if you train too often, at too much volume, too high intensity, too often, and you don't recover properly, you're eventually going to get hurt. If you have bad form, you're going to get hurt. You can't keep pushing 100%. And this is kind of what makes sense to me when people say, or where I hear, you should really be attempting most of your PRs, like your 1 rep max PRs, in competition. Because they're just too dangerous to do in the gym. I mean, maybe when you're a beginner, they're okay, but if you have been training for any period of time, going for 1 rep maxes, like your absolute best maxes, is something that you should prepare for, something that you set yourself for, something what is that word? That you deload and prepare for. That way you can get the most out of yourself. And what I'm learning in this program, what I'm learning in this training cycle, especially post powerlifting meet, on my first meet, is that I'm capable of so much more than I realized. And it's not until you begin to understand that, it's really a time thing. It's not something that just happens overnight. It's something that just happens over time. And I think some of us that might be new in our first year of weight training, or maybe our first 2 years, because I'm basically in my first 2 years of serious barbell lifting, is that it just takes time. It's a marathon. You're building year after year. If you take time off, just think about this for a second. I heard AJ Roberts talk about this. He's a powerlifter. He said, if you take some time off from the gym and you don't lift for 3 or 4 weeks, and you do that 3 or 4 times in the year, you're basically not training. You're in the same place you were. And I can think about this so many times that happened to me years ago in training myself, and also knowing friends that work out. They're basically nowhere. They're not stronger. They're barely hanging on to what they got. And if you're anything like me, you want to get better. And if you're anything like me, you want to do better than average. And if you're anything like me, you want to do better than, way better than average, because average fucking sucks. Like C.T. Fletcher says, right? Fuck average. Fuck average. I fucking hate being average. It's just so lame. And I want to push myself. I want to get to new heights and new limits for myself. And, you know, it would be great to break a record or something, but you know what? This is not what I'm in it for. I'm in it for me. This is a program. My strength training is for me. I want to get better. I want this to create the strongest version of myself, as Elliot Hull says. This is what it's about. It's about making yourself stronger. And this is everything I learn every time I train, every time I watch a video, like I'm watching myself now, taking a look at my form. All I can think about is how I can get better. And if you want to get better and you want to get stronger, you have to be thinking the same thing. How can I get better? How can I improve my technique? How can I push myself smarter and better and more effective so I can get the most gains? I bet you there's something in your training that you're lacking. There always is. And when I say that to talk to myself, because the one thing that I'm lacking in my training is discipline with my nutrition. Nutrition is part of training, and I think sometimes we neglect that. Sometimes the powerlifters sometimes get a bad rap about eating bad or not being the best they could be. And you know what? If you take care of your nutrition, if you take care of everything in your health and your fitness, you're going to get better. Think about your sleep. Think about your personal relationships. It's a whole package. I mean, you are trying to make yourself better, and this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get better. And I want to share this with you because this is something that I always have challenges with, is the nutrition pieces. Being able to follow a diet, being able to really pay attention to my macros and journal my food. In these last 25 days, although they have not been perfect with my nutrition, I have been logging my food in my fitness pal, and I've had like 26 days in a row. So that's something I'm very proud about, because I do want to compete at 181. That's where I want to be. I want to compete at 181 pounds, and I want to get the same exact total that I got last time. Actually, I take that back. I would like to get a 20-pound increase in my deadlift. And the next meet, there's actually another meet I'm going to sign up for also, which I'm sort of committing to right now here in this video, if you're still listening, is that there's a meet, a powerlifting meet, a USPLA meet over at Boss Barbell in Mountain View, and I'm not that far from there, so I'm pretty ecstatic to compete on that one as well. That's in August, so we're gonna have a meet in June, July, and then August have another meet, and hopefully I'll be able to get. I would love to get a maybe 565, maybe 575 deadlift on that meet. I don't know. I just feel very confident of being able to hit 600 by the end of the month. I mean, the end of the year. Sorry, end of the year, end of the month. That'd be fucking awesome. And I have to say that it's one of the biggest challenges in my life that I really, really love to push for. You know, I'm the Deadlift Nerd. That's my website, my blog, deadliftnerd.com. All my little writings and stuff that I share there. I need to write more, though. I haven't had the time to. I've been spending a lot more time on YouTube. But what can I say? You know, these are my slow motion deadlifts. I kind of have nothing else to say. That was pretty much my little pep talk or rant, whatever you want to call it. And as I watch myself on these deadlifts here to kind of finish this last minute of the video, is I'm finding that I have a lot more room on the table to pull from. And what I mean by that is I can drag the bar up my shins a lot better, because right now I don't think I am dragging it up. I'm making contact with my shins, but then I'm not sliding it up my shins. So when you see me, like in the previous, maybe a few minutes back in the video, you may have seen me try to stretch out my hamstrings. And a lot of what I'm doing is I'm just trying to get my hips to come back and get that hamstring activation. That's basically what I'm trying to do. And it's not always the easiest thing. I'm trying to push my hips back, arch my back, and really activate those glutes and hips, and just get everything where it needs to be. Probably one of the most challenging things about this movement for me, because of the flexibility in the hips and hamstrings. But the one thing that's different about this particular workout is I'm wearing a belt, especially the thick belt, the 10mm belt, and this definitely changes my mechanics just a little bit. It helps, gives me leverage, but I need to definitely work on my technique here. So that is that. Anyways, that's my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below. Click like if you haven't already. Take a look at my video over here, which is me beating Woodman on Mega Man. And it's on my video game, not really a video game channel. I guess it is a video game channel, but it's a video I make with my son. We make videos on that channel sometimes, and we just do it for fun. Something we can do together. So anyways, thanks for watching, and as always, I will see you on the next video.